Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back at it yet again with the Game Arena Summoner Series. You got me, Kamika, joined by Diadem, and this is going to be the end of the winners bracket. This is the winners semis, and it's going to be OSU versus UC Pink. Now, Diadem, we've seen both these teams so far in various matches, and so just give me your thoughts. What do you think is going to be some of the things that we see between these teams, deciding factors
Yeah,
and all
I
that?
mean, we talked about it a little bit before our break, but obviously it's been a minute since then. So just to refresh, we saw OSU have a lot of success playing to their bot side, but almost like, the inverse version, UC Pink has a lot of success playing around their carry jungle, playing to those top side, kind of getting those leads ahead, especially around those early void grubs. So I'm excited to see how Ohio State kind of wants to navigate this because I think overall, it kind of works in UC Pink's favor, at least going into this, because if you do force a lot bot side and you take more top side for that, you're just going to have more late game pressure, right? So with UC Pink kind of playing around, I think Ohio State has to be careful they don't overforce things this game.
Yeah, I think so too. Ohio State going for pretty stock standard bans, not going to be including Kane, which is something that we thought about. High priority pick for the Yone as well. It seems like these guys have had a little bit of time to think about what they want to do.
Yeah. And UC Pink already faced the Yone today, right? Handled it pretty well. You know you have the Ornn, but differences OSU definitely has a lot more of a flexible pick, having this Yone either top or mid, right? So
Mhm.
first slam, a bit hard to try and counteract. I want to see what UC Pink tries to pick up here.
Now, what they could do is just go straight for like their bot lane, like they're doing right now. Actually, they could go for Jin Alistar, but blinding Alistar is a little bit interesting. It's not the worst blind in the whole wide world, but you could do like Alistar, Nautilus, or something like that. But I would be very shocked if they picked anything other than the support, just because you
They
don't
might
you
slam
could
jungle
you know
here.
yeah, maybe they will. Maybe they'll send the
Realistically,
cane.
they might pick jungle early just to try and clear it up. Jungle or mid, because I feel like it's a bit hard picking support here because Jin is not really somebody that like works with Bromwell. Yeah, there's the mid laner. He's not somebody that can work with like an early Brom slam. Brom, you really want to wait to couple of picks. Nautilus is tough when you know Alistar's on the board. Ali is rough when they don't already have it because they can pick ranged engage.
Mhm.
Um, so having the first slam Jin, knowing that you're facing the Yone, might as well just pick a mid counter, see if you can force the Yone to go top, and see what other picks Ohio State pulls out here.
And that's exactly what I was thinking as well with the Lissandra Slam. This is exactly what they did the last time that Yone was picked. Is they were thinking, oh, Yone is going to go mid, so let's pick
Mhm.
Lissandra, and then they were forced to do something else and send him somewhere else. It ended up being something that wasn't even better, in my personal opinion, than the Yone mid. So we'll see. And it looks like Ziggs is going to be locked in either in the bot lane or in the mid lane, probably in the bot lane. But Rel is going to be going ahead and joining Jin to sort of counteract the Leona engage.
So it looks like both UC Pink and OSU have just picked their mid to bot sides. Personally, I've played a lot of the Ziggs Leona matchup. I've played a lot of Ziggs. I've played a lot of like the ADC. It's really just strong. Main idea is that you're not only taking prio because your wave clear is just a lot better than Jin early on, but also your engage range with Leona. Leona always has to move herself in whenever you dash in. So Ziggs can always reach it, but I see the expression you're looking at. I see the ban that you see ping through. Banning the Smolder out just instantly.
Yeah, they seem to think that leads me to believe that they think that Ziggs is mid, and they are hovering the Kane ban. It would be a respect ban based
Yep.
on how the last game went, and it looks like
This
they are
is
going to lock it in.
yeah, this is what we talked about, right? You can hold the Kane ban until that R4 R5 because it's just way too volatile to try and pick early. I wouldn't be surprised if OSU bans a Viego here as well. I think UC Pink would benefit really heavily from a reset comp, or excuse me, a reset comp. You have
Mhm.
Lissandra, you have Jin, you have a lot of picks going, so you get somebody like Viego who can snowball fights really well, especially off of that team fight. Their comp is looking pretty strong. UC Pink closing out with a Hecarim band. Probably just one of the more comfort champs for the jungler for OSU. And knowing that you can't pick Kane into it anymore and kind of clearing up some bans in the jungle side, it's a lot safer to just clear it out the way.
Yeah, also if they're going for a Viego pick, Hecarim would be a little bit difficult for Viego to face just because he is like more attacks per minute and stuff like that. Whereas Viego's a little bit he would have a hard time dueling him basically, but we're not going to be seeing that anyway because Viego's going to be outright banned. And so now I'm all out of champs for UC Pink's pool, but obviously he's probably not. So what I'm expecting to see next year is their jungler. Is he gonna him being the carry of the game? What's he really gonna do here? Is he gonna go for something like a Kindred? I don't know if he plays Kindred or if Kindred's even that good right now. I haven't seen a whole lot of it. Maybe could go. I'm really I'm stumped, and
I
clearly
think
so are
he's
they.
they're in a really similar situation. All right, they're just gonna R4 Aatrox. All right, definitely UC Pink putting a lot more priority on their jungle, letting him R5. Aatrox being a pretty strong blind here, right? Obviously, you clear out a smolder top or whatever, kind of like can push him out of lane here, and UC Pink's top laner being comfortable with Aatrox. I think you are a bit worried, although you don't have Gwen Camille on the field. There definitely is still a bit of an issue you can run into. Yeah, Renekton
That's an
could be
issue.
pretty strong here. The issue is like 14-19, Renekton's not as strong as he was before, so he did get nerfed a lot with his item spikes. Aatrox might be a little bit more useful, especially going into the later game, but that early round, Renekton definitely can brawl with it. And Ivern, gonna round out this comp definitely with a bit more. I actually really like this. I really like the Ivern pick here. UC Pink, knowing that he takes carry jungles, um, you want somebody that can you don't have to like necessarily match him with the damage. Okay, never mind. It's gonna be Talia jungle.
I guess you
Okay.
will just match him with the damage then. So
Yep. Yeah. I was about to say it's like there's two ways you take the carry jungle. Either you match him with the damage or you match him by supporting your team. Right? It's really hard to tank against the carry jungle. So having OSU pick up the Talia there, looking to just fly around the map, and you see Pink hovering the Kha'Zix and Udyr, I think, are the two strongest junglers in the
I don't
game.
mind the
But
Echo either, honestly. Like
yeah,
he's really good right now with a lot of these AP items, and he's gonna lock it in.
yeah,
Echo.
this guy's a carry jungler. He does not
Mhm.
like playing that frontline support. He likes going in and getting the damage done.
Now with this, I think that we need to see UC Ohio State University put a high emphasis on getting some early vision in the jungle. I wouldn't be too shocked if we saw like Renekton and Talia going for an early ward like we saw them do up against one of the previous teams just to figure out where Echo's at. And they do have some pretty good early game 2v2s going on here. Like, say, if they needed Ziggs to rotate on up, if they needed Renekton, if they needed Yone to go and invade this Echo. Because what you don't want as Echo, excuse me, is to die pre level 6. That really stunts your growth. And with a lot of his items being so cheap now, you sort of made it to where like instead of having to go this far off my screen in order to get like your power spike, it's now a little bit more towards here because you got like Storm Surge, you got Lich Bane, all these cheaper items with that power spike. So if they can manage to get a kill on this Echo early, then UC Pink is in big trouble.
Yeah, nice thing is Talia is pretty strong, especially like into the 1v1 with Echo right after that initial clear. Echo definitely has a lot more of a level 2 power spike. So what we might see here is just UC Pink try to clear out a little bit of jungle vision and just get in on Talia early before she can get that full combo off. But making it really rough. I think definitely electing. Obviously, the Ivern pick was the other one that they were hovering, but I like the Echo here because you have a lot of dashes to counteract, right? You know that he plays a lot of carry, so you have the E to counteract not only the Echo, which they didn't know at the time, but you have the
Yeah,
Aatrox and you have the Rel. It makes it
so
impossible for those champions.
actually with the Talia E, it only interrupts dashes, whereas Echo's E is a blink, so it actually does not
Ah,
stop.
true, true, true.
Yeah, so Echo is actually a
I forgot
very
about
good
that.
pick into Talia for that reason.
Makes sense, yeah. All right, then you are just kind of just kiting out that Rel and Aatrox then. Lissandra also counts as a blink, so I know that one doesn't go through, but I hadn't thought about that Echo, so that's probably why you see Pink wanted to lock that one in. But otherwise, pretty weird topsy turvy game here because we got Ohio State's bot lane with Ziggs Leona is going to get that early push, right? You have kind of Talia flying around, especially once they hit level 6. Uh, I think the validity of or excuse me, where this Ohio State team can be pretty volatile is in this mid to top lane.
Hmm.
I think the bot lane's pretty free. Uh, it's just a really strong matchup, but with Renekton and Yone are both really susceptible to dives by Lissandra, Echo, Aatrox. Right? That's a
Yeah,
really good rotation. You bring Rel up, and you can kind of put these solo laners really behind.
Yeah, and if Renekton does get behind, like we said, he's not as strong this patch, especially into the late game as like say Aatrox. If you if they get a kill onto Renekton, like Aatrox is able to either get the kill himself, or if he's able to just get like an assist and able to get a good wave state going for the rest of the game as a result of the Echo gank, then Renekton's pretty much straight out of luck, and
Yep.
he's basically just a stun bot from that point forward. So yeah, I do sort of like UC Pink's comp a little bit better just because of the late game scaling and just from on paper it has a little bit more ease of execution. But things I like about Ohio State is they got the Leona ult and just a lot of CC from that. They've got the fast turret taking from Ziggs. They've got Talia with the Weaver's Wall that can cut off a couple of them. Well, they can cut off the Jin, but like UC Pink counters that pretty well with having champs that have dashes that can go over the wall. So it's a lot of different things to be taken into account here. Anything from you?
Honestly, yeah, I think this is a pretty great matchup. I genuinely seen this going pretty well for both teams. I don't think there's really a team that came out too much on top out of this draft because even though I mentioned like the validity of the solo laners, just as much as they can go wrong, it can go right. And then
Yeah.
in those team fights, they have really, really strong backline peel. These fights can be split up really hard. So it's just going to be interesting to see how these teams navigate.
Yeah, we have seen Ohio State have some good coordinated jungle invades, and that's exactly Echo's worst nightmare. So I think that's pretty much going to have to be just from my personal perspective. I'm not as high a rank as these guys, obviously, but that's something that I would be thinking about is trying to get a coordinated hit onto this Echo, just knock him out completely if possible. Just keep good tracking of him.
Yeah, but honestly, I think that's it from us in the booth here. So we are going to take a slight break while we go into spectator delay, and we will catch you guys on the Rift at the start of this next match.
Welcome to
Hello,
Summoner's
ladies and
Rift.
gentlemen, and welcome to Summoner's Rift. I am Kamika, joined by Diadem, and this is the winners semis with Ohio State University versus UC Pink. The gauntlet has been thrown down with a lot of targeted bans, and UC Pink is going to be coming out with the Echo. We've had a lot to say about this already.
Yeah, no, definitely. We took a lot of time, hence the very short break kind of after this draft, because there is definitely a lot of nuance with these drafts, right? Very meta strong. There's not really any picks outside of the Echo that are super surprising. We've seen these teams kind of play these archetypes really well. And I think what's most interesting is just how they're going to try and rotate around this map. Usually, when you play the Ziggs bot, right, you're looking for rotations and you're looking to just try and crack towers. It's his best thing. So I'm excited to see how Ohio State University wants to try and rotate the Ziggs around.
Yeah, and as we expected, they threw down some early game vision, and it looks like Echo is going to try and make his way towards the top. Talia is going to be clearing in the same direction, so there is the possibility that they catch him and do an early fight there. Speaking of early fights, it looks like Rel's going to be going for a little bit of a engage, half healthing the Leona already.
You have to be careful. I mean, Rel level 1 versus Leona level 1 is definitely a bit Rel favored because you just start W and then you just walk up. Leona only having one form of that CC, so Ziggs having to be a bit careful. That 4-shot proccing on that Jhin definitely gonna take it back, but Leona gonna get just tankier as the levels go, trying to fight for that level 2.
Okay, it looks like things are actually pretty even-handed in the mid lane between Yone and Lysandra so far. You would expect Lysandra to kind of bully and beat him up, especially when she starts to get some of her other abilities. Starting with the W on his second level here, going to be Yone because he wants to try and mitigate some of the damage as much as he possibly can going into this level 3, where he's going to hope to chunk her down a little bit.
Yep, definitely. You saw a couple of the trades being a little bit more even because Lysandra's kind of just using her abilities on the wave, trying to fight for that XP because like you mentioned, that level is just super, super strong and you can take a lot of advantage in that mid lane, especially knowing that your junglers are starting to go around us. Here's a quick trade as well, the E not landing, but it is going to be pretty even for both sides. Cooldowns now on everybody as Echo and Talia are pretty evenly matched, but in the bot lane, we just have a bit of an overstep from Leona there as Ziggs immediately flashing back out. Yeah. Rel just jumping over the side,
Does
just
he?
trying to auto attack it, but takes the tower. That's gonna be 2 kills to Ziggs, and then 2 kills to Leona.
Oh,
Ziggs,
that is pain for UC Pink,
yeah,
bro.
Ziggs with TP too. Yeah, he can catch this wave. It's a bit rough for UC Pink.
Yeah, not a very worthwhile engagement in my personal opinion, but yeah, I think it was just mostly because Ziggs played it very well, was able to flash into the bush to cancel Jin's final auto and hit him with an auto of his own because he still had vision. I think is exactly what happened there, and that's pretty much exactly what we were expecting from a strong-sided bot from Ohio State University. We were talking at great lengths at how good 5150 was going to be coming into this game.
Yep, definitely. It's just that little last auto at the very end. Stepping up a little bit too far, especially knowing that like Rel is pretty much all your tank, got a lot of damage on you. It just turns out for 2 kills to Ziggs with a CS advantage as well, but we're seeing Rel now on a roam time mode. Gonna have to just walk back mid. Lysandra gonna E over it. Talia, the dash in does get the stun off of Rel, but here comes Echo from the side as well. It's really bad for OSU. Yone just trying to dash through, get it out, but the W from Lysandra is not gonna make that happen. Now Talia stuck. Leona looking for the E, not gonna be able to find it. Has to flash in, but it's too late. Rohan picks up the kill. Still working in the back. Ziggs stuck over the wall trying to do damage, but there's just not enough. Hamlet picks up the other kill, and a really great roam from UC Pink is going to put them ahead in this mid to jungle.
Wow, that is absolutely nuts. Echo, I mean, again, dude, Rohan is just so nasty in these fights. He has such good coordination on his side to supplement his pushes into these jungles. So, I'm a little bit gobsmacked as how that was able to take place.
Gotta give credit to Rel as well, being just on a really great timer, and not the best thing you want to see, which is your engaged support with a shutdown. A little bit more gold, knowing how much engaged supports like to die in these fights for their team, but definitely taking a lot of that kind of prio on this team, out roaming this Leona a little bit in this early game, and just making sure the team has prio.
Look at this Yone invade.
Oh,
he's trying to kill the Echo.
Yeah. It's just early, make sure you get something, but Echo smites it out, not going to be able to find it. I didn't even notice that, yeah. Yone just kind of walked down using the lane prio, but if it works, it works, I guess. Just force out a smite.
Yeah, I mean, and he did get a little bit close to killing him. If Echo had tried to challenge him even more for it, didn't have smite, it would have been a little bit problem. And oh, speaking of problems, Lysandra's got a big problem in the form of Talia and those roaming support
as well. They might not be able to finish this because the Echo and
No
the flash
way.
auto doesn't click. And she just walks away from it. Echo stuck though, will pay the price. The Ignite going out, ticking down, will go to the Leona. Stunned under tower, you have to be careful. There's the flip, not gonna be able to land, but Yone still looking for something. And overall, kind of scrappy fight, forcing both flashes out of jungle and mid, but really positive for OSU.
Yeah, I think that favors OSU as well because Echo lost literally every single one of his Darksteel stacks, and now Talia is going to be having an opportunity to catch up to him and farm and even pass him. As she goes into a lane that could potentially, she could definitely be here in time for this. I think she's about to hit level 6, so definitely something to be keeping an eye on as top lane as Talia hits her 6-timer.
Yep, definitely. And Yone just kind of getting chased down here. You have Jin coming from the side as well, trying to grab just as much honey fruit. There's the Jin W and the ult coming out. The W from Rel just making sure that last shot hits. Jin picking up his first kill of the game.
Yeah, I guess Talia just didn't have enough for 6 off that last camp. So Echo is going to be pretty much getting free grubs here by virtue of the fact that he has prio over mid and prio over top. Yone is backed, so yeah, good little bit of real estate being gained by Echo.
Yep. Echo taking just this first side. Here's a quick engage on the spot, right? Obviously, Ziggs having to be back on a back timer. Working with the Talia, they have synced it, so they are going to try and walk as 4 here to this jungle. Rel taking up a little bit of early prio. Now that Ziggs is back, Leona can step up a bit further. Jin was completely out of mana, so he had to back. He has no ult for this fight as well, so I think this is a good state for OSU if they want to try and fight this.
Yeah, I think that this should, in theory, be a very easy dragon take for them, and I don't think that Echo's even going to go for a contest on that. I think instead he's going to try and help Aatrox get a little bit of a dive going on top here. As you can see, they stop Renekton. He's very, very weak, but he does have the Dominus, so you do have to be careful of that. Wave pushed in. It's all going to come down to execution here.
Early, there it is. Yeah, pop the ult early, get the rage building up, looking for the Q. There's the Q, the stun, the flash as well. Might be able to get it, but the ult from Rohan is going to save him right there. A quick, clean dive for UC Pink, but they are going to lose Dragon on the bot side.
Yeah, but that kill on Renekton is going to set him immensely behind. As you can see, he's already behind 20 CS, and Aatrox is now going to be able to probably get another plate. It's a little bit iffy because Renekton does have the TP if he really does want to stop it, but yeah, this is at the very least a very good wave state coming back for Aatrox.
Definitely. And now OSU's kind of put a little bit on the back foot here, right? Obviously, going down in CS a little bit in that top side. Still having the lead from mid to bot, but the kills just not really being there. So you have to kind of wonder how they want to navigate these fights, especially with what their target prio is. Because you have a pretty even lead on, a pretty even matchup when it comes to mid and bot, but you do have a kill lead on that jungle. So do you opt a lot of resources into forcing the Echo ult out? Do you opt a lot of resources to dive backline for Jhin? Do you try and bait out the Lissandra ult? I'm really wondering how OSU wants to navigate these fights.
They could go a couple of different ways. I think what they're going to try and do here is just kill this Lissandra,
right
obviously. That is literally perfect CC chain right there. Knock up for the full duration, into knock up for the full duration, into just slowed and dead. That was literally perfectly timed by OSU.
Yep. I'd love to say that Hamlet could do anything more in that, but I think genuinely that's one of those where the kill timer is 3 seconds and the CC timer is 2.95 seconds. So not exactly much combat score to do. So just gonna immediately take another trade. Swap back. You have the wave push now. You have Rel, but it looks like there's going to be an engage on the spot side as well. Echo just catching out Leona a teensy bit. The Talia E going to zone him out. There's the Ziggs ult as well, going to push him back. Rel taking a half chunk. Still a level down from this Leona here, and you don't have Leona ult anymore, so you are a bit at a disadvantage. You blew a lot of ults there. It's just going to try and recall, get the early back off. Oh no, it looks like they're going back in as well. We're going on the top, but they're also engaging on the bot side as well. Rel going in. Duke finds the first kill. Leona's being able to get the shutdown though. The supports are just trading gold right now. 3 kills on Rel, 2 kills on Leona. Shutdowns going both ways.
Yeah, I think Rel will get a little bit of XP for that kill, but she's still needing a pretty decent amount to get her level 6, whereas Leona's already got it, and she'll have her ult back up for the next fight. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a rough XP state for the support here on Rel, and Ziggs is going to get another, his first plating of the game. But yeah, with Grubs coming up here soon, it's definitely going to be behooving Leona to have that level 6 to roam on up and give some assistance to the team that is converging on her.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to see Rel's just going to soak a bit of XP here from the mid lane, trying to just take this wave. And there's the level 6 now. They're just looking for an engage immediately. There's the ult from Lissandra as well. They're going to dive in. The Weaver's Wall is coming in, but it might be a little bit too late. Yone gets the ult off, and a flick. It's really strong there. Yone still in the E, though. He's going to have to come back. Rohan picks it up. Ult's back in as well, and the combo from Rel. The ult pull-in is huge. That's a lot of damage going to both sides, but only 1 kill coming out. Yone falling to the side of UC Pink.
Yeah, honestly, I'm shocked at how long Fire was able to stay alive in that fight. I thought he was Des the Doornail for pretty much right at the beginning of the fight, but no, he stayed alive a really long time, and it really enabled a lot of the rest of his team to get on out of there without dying. It does still give UC Pink the easy advantage on going into these grubs, but Yone will still be able to be up and not lose too much because of his TP.
Yeah, he's going to TP. Jhin looks like he's going to stay bot, so Ziggs won't have to blow TP either, but if this fight goes bad, you can see a 4v5 going in. The Dominus pop going into the pit. Here comes Renekton. Yone gets the dive in on the side as well. The Weaver's Wall jumps over the corner. Leona's a bit stuck out, though. The team disengaged without her, and now she's stuck with the root. The Q1 finishes it off, and Leona falls in that fight. The rest of the Ohio State, just a little bit of miscommunication. Leona going a bit too far, kind of tracked in on the E there.
I feel like they put a little bit more faith in the fact that, okay, so basically what had happened there, and I think why Ohio State decided to pull the trigger there, was because the only person that had ult going into that fight was Renekton. So they were thinking, oh, Renekton can go here in the Dominus, stun out onto Echo, and if we can burst down Echo, the other people are pretty low on health still, and we can probably mop things up. Unfortunately, that's not quite the way that it went down, and Echo was able to just slip through their grasp again, all of them able to dash over the wall and to safety. So, yeah, I see the idea there from Ohio State, but just unfortunate in the execution.
Yeah, I like the idea too. You just kind of have to, you get the timers up, but a little bit of miscommunication can go a long way there, just splitting off your support. And although it wasn't the worst thing in the world, right, like engaged supports are meant to die, the timing was just a little bit rough for the team.
Yep, and with Hextech Dragon up, we're going to be seeing yet another fight in a very short amount of time. However, everyone is going to be having their ults up, and it's going to be inverse. Only Renekton's going to be the one that doesn't have the ult up for this scenario. Aatrox does have TP, but Renekton will probably have it pretty soon too. And so, Leona ult going to be a little bit wasted, hoping to find a little bit of an inroad onto the Jhin, but not quite.
Yeah, you had to go for it though. If Jhin walks up like that, it might as well just toss it out, right? But it looks like you're not going to find the engage there, so you won't find the dragon either. Second dragon going over to UC Pink.
Yep, first dragon gonna be their first dragon though, and it's a pretty decent one. Hextech gonna be giving Echo a lot more ability haste to get more of his abilities off faster. It's gonna be pretty nice. Same thing with Lysandra. She's gonna be able to get those stuns, those roots off at a much faster interval.
Yeah, definitely.
First wall coming in the meantime. Flashes onto her, but is going to be getting forced away by the Dominus, stunned out, and Miller will be cleaning things up onto that Aatrox. Was a little bit scary there for just a second, but luckily Talia was able to place her W very well underneath her, and Renekton with a good heal as well.
Yeah, we're seeing kind of the danger of having that Talia jungle. Just immediately a snap engage under that turret. Can't really get a lot of your movement off as Aatrox either. Your abilities just not landing, but it looks like they're gonna immediately engage here. The W landing, Rel jumping in, the E as well landing, a quick barrier out of the side of Duke. Gonna save him, now just having to sidestep these ults, and the last shot hits while Lysandra comes and finishes off the second one, and that's gonna be a 2v3. 2 kills to UC Pink again.
Dang, dude, ever since like the 13th minute mark, it has just been non-stop fighting all over the map.
Yes.
These guys just love to fight each other, and I don't know if they feel like they got something to prove, but like all these fights have been really good ones to take for UC Pink. I'm not sure. I feel like Ohio State's sort of baiting themselves in some of these scenarios. The Renekton fight for the Grubs was an intelligent play, but I feel like they're just getting caught out and suckered into a lot of these fights that they're having a hard time winning.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of caught out, Renekton just instantly bursted, not even getting the flick off there, and now Echo is just going to walk in. The smite does go to Talia, just trying to pick up the eye before dying, because the rest of UC Pink is there. She will secure the Rift Herald, but not after losing 3 people for the side of Ohio State. And UC Pink, although didn't get the objective, you are now in the driver's seat.
Yeah, one of the worst fears for Ohio State is coming alive. The jungler is carrying yet again. Not only does Echo have a fully completed Lich Bane and Sork Shoes, but he's got almost a completely stacked Dark Seal. His damage is going to be off the freaking charts, especially with how far behind Yone is, how far behind Renekton is. He's in a position where he can pretty much 1v1 anybody on the map.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of 1v1, immediately Yone walks up here, gets a really great chunk out of Aatrox, but Echo just gets the burst of move speed in the background, gonna just zoom right back out of there to trade off again. And we talked about it before this game, but a big strength of UC Pink and a big weakness that Ohio State could get exposed with is their solo laners, right? With the picks that they have. And we're seeing it here. The solo lanes for UC Pink just having a lot more support when it comes to their jungle, just being able to kind of see, yeah, right there, just jumping in, shoving it. Although you do get one shutdown on the side of Ohio State on that Jhin, and you're going to push this mid turret with Ziggs, you'll be able to crack it in time, but it's a bit rough still for you, OSU.
Yeah, I know, and the crazy thing is that despite being 0-5-1, that Yone almost 1v1'd Inferno. But if he didn't have Echo and Rel there, he probably would have done it. Although the Eclipse was the thing that saved him at the end of the day in that fight, there would have been no kill in that scenario if it wasn't for his teammates sticking around. So I do agree with you 100%. UC Pink is doing a lot better of just being there for their team, especially Rohan. In the last game we saw him, he was just flying around the map as Kane. Now he's doing the same thing as Echo. Been in pretty much every single pivotal fight.
Yep, definitely. Rohan and Rel as well have just been kind of moving around and being able to just shove out these teams as we see another engage as well. Lysandra E just going to jump in, get stunned by Leona. Ziggs Bomb going to be able to trade a bit of damage back, but you see it is 4v3 or 4v2, excuse me, in this mid lane. Ohio State just having to back up a little bit of pressure.
And now Echo as well, so far ahead, got so much gold from all these fights that he's going to go Rabadon's Death Cap second item. And I mean, with a fully completed Dark Seal, why wouldn't you? It's a smart thing to do. Hell, he might even go Magi's with how confident he's feeling right now.
It might be worth, honestly, as a third item after you complete this Rabadon's. Magi's move speed, especially when you're just as slippery as Echo is perfect just for that archetype of zooming around the map. And we're seeing UC Pink just has so much map control.
Yeah, if you ever need an indicator for how the match is going, the carry for UC Pink has got a completed item and 2 needlessly large rods, and Ziggs has 1 completed item and 2 Phoenix Codexes. As we go, Yone going instantly in, instantly out as he realizes that fight is pretty much a non-starter, not a winner. 5 Fire trying to go back in for Rohan, but the support is going to be there as well.
The Aatrox.
Yep, and in comes the final curtain call. Going to be forcing them on away. Probably going to be no more kills because Ohio State is going to be safe and underneath the tower. But yeah, it could still be. They still are going to have a lot more health up. They may try to go for the Baron while Echo goes for this as a desperate play, but I don't know. I feel like that would be a little bit difficult for them to pull off.
Yeah, just a little bit. They have to just kind of split the map a teensy bit, but you have Rel here. Might get caught out. There's the flick as well. A lot of damage going out against the Dark Harvest proc. Talia getting that final shot, and that is their support down. That's a lot of their engage, and you see a couple of pings coming out from Ohio State. They can use this to try and take advantage topside.
Very true. And so one thing that they're not doing is going for putting anybody bottom side, and I think it's because they're going to try and force a Baron play off of this. They're going to shove all these waves, and then probably have Renekton back for item, and then TP back in for the Baron play. I mean, it's either that or they're just having a little bit of an oversight and sending someone to take out that turret like Ziggs. But yeah, I think that's probably what they're going to try and do as a Baron fight soon.
Yep, definitely. You just got to set up around it because, especially when you're down by 4K, right? You just kind of have to look at the objectives that you're playing around and just set up really, really early, right? It becomes way more important because you can't really afford to take a fight on their terms. If you take a fight on their terms, there's no way that you can win it. If you're able to start the engage, you at least have a chance of bursting them before they can get their gold leads off.
Yep. Both top laners going to be in the bot lane. Both do have TP to join this fight later, but Renekton is going to be... Oh, as I'm talking about Renekton, Yone is getting engaged on, and as he's getting out, gets rooted and stunned up again, thinks he's out, but he's not. You're not that slick, Fire, and you're going to be getting sent to a gray screen. In the meantime, Rel's getting caught out just a little bit again, but who's catching who? Actually, as the ult for Jin is coming out now as well, and Talia coming in for the follow-up. It's gonna be the Ziggs that goes down,
the Rift Herald as a stun, but as we zoom in, it wasn't enough because now Talia gets jumped on. The Profane Hydra proc and Echo are gonna finish off the second one as well, get the reset, and now that's gonna be 4 down for the side of OSU. All that's left is Renekton in this mid lane, just left to catch up the scraps as UC Pink, excuse me, takes the Baron.
I think what you meant to say, all that's left is pain. As UC Pink got pretty much every single thing that they could have possibly wanted out of that. Ohio State, they're going to try and push the wave so that they can't just easily push this down, and maybe he's going to go down for bot to maybe get the turret so that they can't just all group up in 5-man. Man, this is just a really rough spot. Not only are they in a bad map position-wise, and not only do they not have the Baron, but they're also down 7k gold.
Yep, it's looking pretty grim for Ohio State for this first game at least, right? Obviously, got a series going on. Not going to be the end of it, if OSU does fall, like here in this first initial game, but there's a lot to pull from this, right? Is that obviously this jungle is an issue. You know that the carry jungle is coming. You know the damage that it can output is huge, and these solo lanes just need a little bit more priority, especially because this Yone was the very first pick, right? If you're going to be one this pick, it's got to have a little bit of use, as you see in engage here, and almost like I'm speaking into my crystal ball. Yone falls again. They're gonna try and just go on this bot side. The flash in immediately on the Aatrox. Aatrox looking for a reset on this Talia. Gets the pull in. He gets the kill in the 1v2. Still fighting, still going, and still healing. There's not much anti-heal on the side of Ohio State as they're still trying to fight against Inferno. Inferno dashing away, gets the auto, but the shutdown goes to Renekton, but not before UC Pink drops a mid turret, drops a bot turret, still pushing in, diving this Ziggs, opens up on Ziggs, looking for the auto, gets the blue ward, but the stun and the weird buffer over the wall is going to be enough to get this final shot for Jin.
I know, that was just so well done by the Rel once again. I feel like I was saying at the last game, just these Rels today have been absolutely instrumental. But yeah, you were talking about the first pick, Yone. I feel like if you're gonna first pick a character, it's gotta not have 8 deaths by 24 minutes. Yeah, that's...
I think going into this match, because the Ziggs isn't the worst, right? The Ziggs is okay, the Leona's okay. Obviously getting caught out a little bit in fights, but I think if you're just going through draft again, you just pick Ziggs first. And Lissandra's stepping out a little bit too far here, not going to be able to save herself with the E. Dropping a quick kill to Talia again, but I think if you just had to redo this draft for Ohio State, you don't pick the Yone early, you pick the Ziggs B1, and then you're able to adjust with your solo lanes. Because you're already blue side.
Yeah, I don't know if you pick Yone period, just because you know they have the strong Lysandra counter pick. So maybe you try and go for a little bit of something different. I don't know. I know that 5 Fire, I think, played Dragonstone like the last time in
as well. God. There's a Wombo. Yeah, and that's the pick they needed. Immediately jump in. The TP is really well played as well. Leona just being able to pick up that kill on Aatrox, and they are shoving this now. Ohio State just not giving up without a fight here. Knowing that they got the Lysandra pick, they're just going to tank with the minions and be able to take this tier 3, and they flipped the game a little bit here. Although you're still down on the gold lead, they've gotten a lot more range on this map and a lot more freedom to play.
That is absolutely massive. A play that comes completely out from left field. I guess Yone is basically on his power spike after all, dude, if you know what I mean. If you know, you know, league jokes. But yeah, this also gives them the perfect opportunity to go for the dragon as well. They may have used all their ults and stuff like that, but their opponents have super minion waves to deal with now, and they're just going to take it down way too fast for a good reaction to come out from UC Pink.
Yeah, and that's great because they are even on dragon now, right? You're not really looking for flipping many objectives, so getting a free push like that and getting the objective, really great call on the engage, knowing that you just have your ults up. It's fine to just blow a lot more ults than you probably need to, as long as you can secure that kill, especially when you're behind this late in the game.
Yeah, so next big thing coming up is going to be the Baron. I don't think that we're going to be seeing them fighting too much before that or too close to that, because they just don't want to be dying. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of just posturing, a lot of fighting for vision, and a lot of farming, which really does benefit Ohio State University. What UC Pink needs to do in this scenario is exactly what they're doing now. They need to get vision in their jungle. They need to try and catch Talia as she goes for farm, because she doesn't want to be taking too much from her laners. If they can find someone alone in the jungle and take them out, then that's exactly what they need to go and take another inhib.
Definitely. Now we're seeing UC Pink set up to do exactly that, because just playing a bit preventatively, letting Rel lead this charge. You have Talia over the wall. You have to be careful. Ohio State has a lot of chip damage, right? Like, it's a bit hard for UC Pink without an engage to get a lot of damage off with this fight, because they are somewhat low range, right? Lysandra not exactly being the highest caster. Jin also need to be somewhat in auto range, if not for any other damage. So if Ohio State can play these fights a bit slower with the chip that they have, maybe get a pick or two or at least half health, it might be better. But it looks like they're just trying to make a play really quickly, set up all in this jungle here, clearing out this vision, getting ready for Baron coming up in 40 seconds.
Yep. Good vision fighting by the Leona, but oh, it looks like they're going to try and punish her for it. Echo not going to be able to quite get her, but at least they're doing a good little bit of a job zoning, and that top wave is going to be crashing pretty soon, something that they're going to have to deal with. The longer this fight does go on, the more it's going to benefit UC Pink as long as they can keep control over mid. It looks like Ohio State's trying to push a super minion wave mid here as well, so that's something a little bit that they have to be worried about. Oh, the engage though from the Rel, they're all nice and stuck together. Echo going to try and follow up, and up goes the Crit Plume, going golden here as well. The Yone ult is going to be absolutely massive, but the Echo is going to go flying right on back with the rewind, and they're all dead. Everybody is dead in the blink of an eye for Ohio State University, and that is exactly what you need from UC Pink to seal the deal and end off this first map.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you were looking for, right? That is the, like, dream fantasy of this comp, is that you get all that engage going together. You have the Lissandra paired with the Rel. The Echo ult pops back for a ton of damage to save. Aatrox is free hitting. Jhin is free hitting in the ult. And that's going to be game one for this series.
Oh my god, what an explosive end, quite literally, with the Echo ult. But you know what I mean? Like, and I just we were wondering who was going to carry harder, the ADC for OSU or the jungler of Rohan for UC Pink, and clearly it was the Echo in this case. They tried to target him, they tried to knock him out, they tried to go after his champions, but clearly this guy's pool is just a little bit too deep for them to swim in. So yeah, dude literally ended off with almost a fully stacked Medjais. How about that?
Yeah, no, you don't really see that much when it comes to these competitive matches, but definitely was fun to watch him flying around on this map. I think going into game two, they really have to be conscious now of those solo lanes, right? You know that he likes to play topside. You've now seen that he plays topside. You know that they're gonna R5 him, right? Or if you take red side, you know that they're gonna try and give him counter pick. You have to just play preventatively, change your picks up a little bit, allow your bot lane to pick a bit earlier so that you can get those countered solo lanes and see kind of where you want to go from here.
Yeah, I think as well. To be totally honest, it hurts me to say this because Yone is just such a good champion in the current meta. But after that performance, I think you just gotta take the Yone and throw it out, dude. Like they, if you try to put him top, that's like one thing, but that pretty much pigeonhole. Like what the good thing about picking Yone is that he's a flex pick. But if you know that they're just gonna slam the Lissandra if they see the Yone up, then either you gotta put Yone top and have some really, really good counter pick mid, or you just don't pick Yone. You try to go with something a little bit different, like maybe a Hui, maybe a Syndra, maybe something a little bit more baseline like that.
Yeah, I was wondering that too because Yone is a pretty good matchup in the Aatrox, which was wondering because like they slammed the Aatrox and I was okay. They could pick a mid here. They can maybe swap to the Yone to the top, but I guess top laner in Ohio State just doesn't really like playing that Yone. Doesn't like playing that matchup. So either way, we just have to see how they want to do it in game two.
Yep, and we'll be right back with game two right after this break, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the Game Arena Fall Summoner Series. I am Kamika again, and this is Diadem. We're about to get into round number two between OSU and UC Pink. UC Pink did come out with a pretty stellar victory in the last round, but we'll see if they can keep it up going into this next one. Diadem, give us a little bit of a insight onto what you think needs to change from this last game to win for
Yeah.
them.
So OSU, best thing that they can do right now is they are moving to blue side. Or excuse me, I thought UC Pink was moving to blue side, but it looks like Ohio State needs to just change up their draft. I think obviously in game, as there's a lot of different angles that you can play based off your draft, but I think the Yone opening pick, you tried it, right? It's a series, didn't go out too well, so now you just swap it and you have to figure out what you want to pick. The nice thing is you're on red side, you have a lot more counter pick when it comes to your solo lane options. So we have to see what UC Pink wants the first pick here and kind of how you want to react to it.
Yeah, Yone, in case you guys missed it, I think was 0 and 9 and 1 by the end of the last game, unless I'm mistaken. But I think that's either justification to either just drop him straight out of the comp, at least out of first pick, but maybe even out of the comp, or you got to ban Lissandra because like straight up, dude, that was not a good matchup. Like you said, they could have swapped him top to go up against Aatrox, but the fact that they did not do that screams the fact that their top laner probably does not feel comfortable playing Yone. So
Yeah.
it's only going to be a mid pick for them basically. So if they so their options are either say screw Yone or we ban Lissandra, in my opinion.
Yep. Especially like you said, knowing that the top laner isn't comfortable kind of ruins the flex, right? So early Yone
Mm.
is just not really an option. And UC Pink often just picked the Jin immediately, feeling comfortable on it, right? Felt good last game, was pretty helpful in those team fights, right? Outputting a lot of DPS against those teams. So Ohio State now just on the return pick here, gonna pick up the Smolder. Maybe just a hover, but I honestly
I'd like it
I like
honestly.
it. Yeah, I like the Smolder here. Um, just give yourself a little bit of secured scaling. Although it's like obviously not the best like team fighting pick. Early on, you lose a little bit of prio, especially into Jin. I think that going Smolder and then picking yourself up a little bit engage would be super helpful, and it looks like that's exactly what they're trying to do. Going with this support second pick.
Yeah, and I think picking Smolder is good. You're giving yourself like an out and out hyper carry, late game hyper carry for your most strongest member of the team. And we've seen him on late game hyper carries before on Jinx. He got a triple kill in the early game and was able to pretty much carry the whole rest of the way through. So I think it could happen that they do the same thing with him on Smolder, assuming that it's not going to be Smolder mid. I think that's been thoroughly nerfed into the ground. But
Yep.
assuming this is for ADC, I think there's a lot of good merit for them doing that.
Definitely. Now we gotta just see what UC Pink wants to return with, because you have the support. Yep, we've seen Rel and Alistar like 50 times it feels like today, but for
Yep,
good
every game.
reason. Alistar just being the best answer into these engage picks, whether it's Nautilus, whether it's Rel, whether it's anything else that wants to go in. Alistar is great for just keeping yourself off carries.
Yep, and I'm wondering what UC Pink decides to go for here. Do they decide to go for the blind pick in the jungle? Do they decide to go for a top pick, like a mid pick? Like, ooh, it looks like they're going to
Okay.
be going a little bit in Nico in the mid lane. And so, yeah, that does have a couple of counter pick potentials here from, say, Ohio State. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous for this one for UC Pink.
Yeah. UC Pink though, I like their team fight, right? So far you have Nico ult, which is always really great. You pair it with a carry jungle, right? Still works out really well, get a couple of resets, but I think the best part is that Ohio State has the counter pick and they're gonna use it for Gragas. Gragas.
All right. I don't know if that's necessarily a counter pick, but
Yeah,
we'll see where they decide to slot Gragas at the end of all this. It is a flex pick, so they could be thinking, oh, we're putting Gragas into a crappy lane up against Nico, or he's going to be in the jungle, or he's going to be top. He could really be in any one of the scenarios. So I feel like they just threw out Gragas because they're comfortable playing the character, and he can go in any one of these lanes, and they didn't want to be too committal up against all these unknowns.
yeah, because I don't know about like a Gragas Nico like counter pick,
Pretty
right?
sure he loses to Nico straight
Yeah,
up.
I don't think that's like worth it, but you're falling into the same trap that like we saw them find in last time, which is you don't get many like strong opportunities for counter picks, right? You're gonna have to pick your
Yeah.
jungle here, knowing that you're gonna have to blind it because you really want to get that R5 top. But
Now, something I would have recommended actually is them picking what UC Pink just banned in Silas. Like we saw it be a really
yeah,
powerful tool the last time. Like you can literally have Silas steal Nico's ult and then use it right back up against them, and it basically forces UC Pink to not
free
pick any
smolder
more
mid.
good ults. It could be
Wow,
Smolder mid.
gonna be
It is.
smolder
It
mid.
is actually shoot, or it could be
Yeah,
top.
we have
I
a
doubt
nice
top, but like
spot. Yeah. I think it's just like way easier to throw it mid right now, going into that. But Nico just a lot of range. It's not like the best matchup for Smolder, I'd say, because Nico just kind of pushes him out early game especially. But Ohio State obviously just cooking up, looking like they prio their mid laner a lot. They want to get their mid laner picks early, especially because they just want to get those flex picks out. So UC Pink now getting kind of an idea going with the Akali, which might be Akali top or it could be meaning that we flex the Nico either jungle or we flex the Nico top.
I
Um,
I
it's
don't think
honestly
Nico jungle is a thing anymore, honestly.
we're all over the place right now. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I hope that that's a Kali top because what it would
It
mean
is
for the rest of the
definitely.
team. Yeah. Uh, hey, we're going at it, but there's the Nocturne as well. Yeah. One of the jungles I was going to mention was you go UC Pink, you pick the Nico early, and then you have the Nocturne to turn the lights out. You have Nico on flank. It's pretty much undodgeable, right? Like it's such a good team fight winning pick in Ohio State, leaving their jungle or top to R5. You can still just Gragas Udyr flex this. It's going to be jungle. Um, and it looks like they're hovering the Lilia here for Nocturne.
Yeah, I mean it's
I
something that
I
could.
like it.
I like it as well. I also like their other pick that they had earlier on, but they're going to be locking in with the Lilia for a little bit more AP, which makes sense. It's pretty much a 50-50 split. A lot of split damage sources coming out here from Ohio State University, which I like. And both teams kind of have that, but yeah,
Yeah.
we're let's talk a little bit about this mid lane matchup. It's not one I see too often, but I have a general idea of how it's going to go. What are your opinions on it first, Diadem?
So my issue that I'm running into right now is that their mid laner obviously lack the smolder prio, right? Happens. You gotta take something. If you want the smolder, you take the smolder. UC Pink is able to lock Nico, which is still really strong in team fights, and beat Smolder out of lane, especially from that like level 6 onward. Um, and then you run into the issue of you lock the Gragas early to force a flex, but you don't flex it because UC Pink just locks a Kali, which is a counter into Gragas. You have a really rough spot now to where UC Pink again has counters in the solo lanes. You don't have any more prio, even though you were on red side. You do have jungle counter though. That is the nice thing. You do have jungle counter, right? So
Mhm.
obviously that is what Ohio State was banking on. But I feel like the jungle was fine. Like I even though you picked Talia and they picked the Echo off of it, um, I thought the jungle played still okay. Obviously getting a bit outpaced, but the solo lanes just were getting a bit bullied. So this draft being a little bit rough, I do like their team fighting. I do like kind of how they situate, especially because Lilia's really great into Nocturne, not only as like a 1v1 matchup, but because if Nocturne ever turns the lights out in a team fight, you sleep. You can reset the fight. Lilia is one of the best fight resetters. Not only can she just start stuff, but if you get a 3-man sleep or you get something going while they're popping their ults, it allows the lights to turn back on and allows your team to kick back up. So I like the pick. I like the counter. I think it was worth it. But Ohio State still runs into the issue to where if they don't get ahead early, they need to wait really late for their team to scale.
Yeah, that is a problem, and Smolder Mid does sort of rely on its ability to just bully people out like mages and things like that, where he can just walk up and auto them, walk up and Q them, W them from a distance, and rack up the stacks really fast. You can't really do that too much up against Nico because if you try to walk up to her, she can like EU through the wave, which a lot of people are surprised by how fast it moves through the wave because it actually accelerates when it goes through a wave or hits a target. A lot of people don't know that. And so people can sometimes be caught off guard with the fast speed up. Smolder, if he gets caught on that, can get down to like half health with the EQ, full damage. And Nico also has her empowered auto attacks, which can do pretty good stuff up against Smolder, who relies on auto attacking champions and things like that. Nico also is a champion that does not have a lot of big mana problems. So if she wants to really shut down the Smolder or gets a kill early up against the Smolder, could just go something like Storm Surge and just completely shut him down for the rest of the game and just play on the play off of that just because she doesn't need to take a mana item.
I think UC Pink will be going that Storm Surge rush early, especially on
Hmm.
Nico. Just is the strongest item like for mages right now, especially burst mages like that. And when you're facing squishy tank, or excuse me, squishy targets, like this Ohio State University has, it becomes a bit rough. But otherwise, I think honestly, I've said all I needed to about these two team comps. I kind of just have to close my mouth for a little bit and let them play out on the Rift and just see how it goes.
Yeah, just let them cook, as they say. But, ladies and gentlemen, while they get cooking on into this lobby, we are going to go onto a little bit of a break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Summoner's Rift. I was waiting for it to say it, but I didn't quite do it. But I digress. Ohio State University versus UC Pink is what we've got on the table for you right now. UC Pink won the last match pretty handily, and we are in here now with the new draft. Any last opinions on the new draft here, Diadem?
Pray for Ohio State University.
Pray for
That
them,
is my
yes.
final thought. That is my
Oh, this
final
draft.
thought.
Oh, it's what are your opinions on Grasp Smolder mid?
I actually really like it. Unironically, I've been playing Smolder a lot recently, like scrimming it for our team, and Grass Smolder is just better than Fleet right now. You proc Grasp a lot, especially with the recent nerfs that Fleet had to ranged attackers. Grasp is just usually the better option for sustain in the lane. So you get a little bit of health stacking. Usually you you run the resolve tree with like Demolish and Overgrowth. And the main idea is it's just you are scaling and you are scaling tank, trying to make it to that late game where you have enough stacks for damage.
Yep. And it looks like Smolder's going to be getting the kill on the ward, meaning that he will be reaching level 2 a little bit before Nico, getting this early damage on the wave. So you should probably be able to beat Nico to level 2. It looks like he's going to go for the typical bully Smolder strat.
Yep, yeah. I mean, now that you're running Grass especially, you're looking for as many Grass procs as you can, as it looks like UC Pink getting a bit aggressive, walking up into that tri-push, and then allowing Rel to just hit away, but it's going to be a positive trade for them.
Yep. And it looks like Nocturne is going to be starting and clearing towards bot for a level 3 early gank. Seems to be the idea here for him. Otherwise, he probably would be doing this a bit differently to start. So could be seeing a little bit of spicy plays going on in the bot lane real soon.
Yeah, I like it. You know that you have a Kaisa Rel, right? Nocturne needs to get online at least a little bit before this Lilia, because usually when you play against Nocturne, you can look for like a level 6 spike, right? Or be like, hey, we play to level 6, then I start flying around. But with Lilia, pace is just much more important. So going back
here they
in,
go.
immediately the flash and the W back as well. They're going to catch out Rel. Rel just kind of working in the back, and they're just going to give up this kill. Looks like they're trying to give it to Nocturne, yeah, for this first blood. Make sure that he's accelerated so he can start flying around. You can really tell how UC Pink trusts this jungler.
Absolutely. They completely play around him and depend on him. Whenever he calls for a jungle invade, they are all there in force. Whenever he says, I'm going to level 3 gank you, they let the whole wave push on into them. And it's really awesome to see people gather around and trust a teammate so much like that.
Yep, yeah, the jungle tells me, sir, yes, sir, I will give you kill, sir. Just
right.
Instantly on that. Get a couple of gold, get a little bit in your pocket, and now Nocturne is a bit behind on the farm, but after this full clear should be ahead. Have to be careful a little bit. Smolder kind of just walking up. Looks like they're looking for an early reset. Otherwise, the level 3 gank, pretty nice, but pretty quiet game. Nocturne now on vision, so able to be tracked. Might be looking for something topside, but probably just trying to get that Scuttle Crab and back.
Yeah, I think that he's just going to go for the Scuttle Crab and then go for the rest of his clear. Maybe go for a gank into Gragas afterwards. Probably not, because his stuff bottom side is going to be spawning up soon. He could just as easily go for that as well. Smolder, I'm seeing as well, is pretty decently low health, so Lily's going to have to come and help. But it looks like needing some help in the bot lane too.
Rel just gets hit again. There's just so much damage on that side. Alistar walks up. Rel can't really do anything with this counter pick. Alistar making it so rough. The W and then the Q immediately. Another trade and force shot coming from Duke. And this bot lane is just trading blow for blow.
Yep. Going blow for blow, ban for ban, M for M. And yeah, Jhin is definitely getting a little bit better of the stuff out of that, because as you can see, not only does he have an assist, but he's got a solid 13 to 14 CS lead up on Kaisa now. And so it's starting to look pretty good for Duke, and especially the entirety of UC Pink, because let's not forget, 5150 is their carry, the one that they depend on for doing a lot of the good stuff. He's been their standout player, and him being behind is not a good sign.
Yep, yeah. put it behind a little bit here. Bro looking up, finds the W trade, but not going to be able to capitalize really much off of it. And you're seeing this top lane here now, this Akali, just the danger of it, getting this freeze. Although you are getting chipped out a teensy bit, it's one of those where Gragas is going to use his Q to try and trade with you. He can't use his Q to try and farm those waves. You are losing just slowly bleeding CS.
Yeah, I think he's going to need a little bit of help from Lily to go and clean that up, but unfortunately that's not something that Miller can just afford to go and do because, you know, other things in the map requires attention as well. Although maybe it's worth it because he doesn't have any map positioning or priority on Nocturne, who's able to quite easily go and get this dragon with the help of the bot lane.
Yep, yeah. I mean, Miller has taken a bit of tempo when it comes to just farming, right? Obviously going up on CS, but you are down on objective in 2 kills now. So once you hit that level 6 spike, probably going to be backing, hitting that red buff, sorry, on top side coming up, and then walking to grubs. You're going to be level 6, but so is Rohan after that. So we're going to see a bit of a scrap on this top side if I had to predict something.
Go top side, because Akali is level 6. Gragas is about to be level 6 too, but Akali is very low health. And this wave is going to be pushing towards Akali, so we might be seeing Nocturne, who's about to hit level 6 pretty soon too, try and tip the scales in their favor a little bit.
Yeah. OSU facing a bit of a good situation, at least in this top, although you are going down CS. With this objective coming up, you have no TP on Akali, and you are like up at least on the back, so you're trying to just take as many trades as you can, get another back off, use the sustain from your Gragas, especially before this fight.
Yep, and it looks like the fight is going to be starting up in the pit down here. Smolder going to be having priority come and give some assistance here. Alistar is going to be there though. Smolder coming on in.
Smolder coming out. Oh, here comes the Nico. The flashing hits 2 of them, able to find Miller in the backline. Ignite burning down. It's going to be enough. Hamlet finds the first kill. They are going to trade for a kill on Smolder, getting that Nocturne out. But Hamlet is just walking down. They has to be careful. Alistar would be willing to give his life for this kill, but gets the W back off.
She misses her
and it's going to save her life. Yeah.
And this is the Q!
Cancels the auto. You got auto. You got auto. There we go. Yeah, cancel 3 autos, missed the E, missed the Q. A bit worrying there, and that's probably going to be a trade to Gragas just with the missed execution. And actually, they go for the wrong Nico, but the burn, you have no chance here. There's no execute, nothing you can do. The rest of UC Pink is just going to be backing up. And although you did trade 2 kills there, overall, I'd say more worth for UC Pink.
I don't know, because Ohio State did get that grub, so I don't know. I think it's better than what they could have hoped for in a lot of those situations, especially because Lily got 3 Darksteel stacks and is going to be in a good position to go for the rest of this stuff. Nocturne doesn't have a whole lot of a reason to go for a top, while Lilia does still have her hold top side up and can quite easily justify going back top for the rest of these grubs. So it's not really all that bad for Ohio State either.
Yep, they still are in an okay situation. I'm a bit worried though, is it looks like Nico's going to be going for the rocket belt first, which I like, and here's an immediate ult as well, jumping in with the Jhin W landing, the ult popping back out, the Kai'Sa flash in the 4th shot, not going to be able to land on Kai'Sa, both Rel and Kai'Sa solo, one more auto from Rohan, and that's going to finish it off, picking off that kill in the bot lane, pushing back the Kai'Sa, and that's going to be a free wave for Jhin and Alistar to farm.
Yep.
Wow, I mean,
Not much.
Yeah, another
much
trade
pickup.
top side as well. There's going to be the ult out pulling, gets the ult back. Here's the recast, and there's the solo kills one in the top lane, making this game just really unplayable for Gragas.
Yeah, one of the things about that kerfuffle, I guess you could say, that we saw over in the Baron pit, over the grubs, is that Akali did get a kill, whereas Gragas got a death, so she's going to be snowballing ahead of him, building a lot more damage items where he's building more mana items, and she just is going to be pretty much hard winning that lane from this point forward because of that.
Yeah. And Rohan's using his tempo right now. He just went up and immediately is going to claim these other 2 Void Grubs that are up on the map right now. And you can see in this mid lane trading, it is pretty rough, right? Overall, gotta give credit to Spire. I know I'm not a big fan of the Smolder early pick, but Nico at least playing his trades really, really well in this early game, using that kind of grasp sustain, but you have to be careful. You have both the supports roaming up. Ohio State looks like they're around it, and I think their win con now just is the Smolder.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's at a pretty decent amount of stacks for where he's at in the game. About a little bit less than like like yeah, 82 stacks at this point is pretty decent. He's almost halfway to where he's at his max stacks. So gonna be hitting his spike pretty fast. If I were UC Pink, I'd be looking at that and thinking, maybe we should try to force fight a little bit before we get to that point. Dragon's gonna be up soon. Would be their second dragon in the game. All ults are up, and bot lane is looking to maybe get a kill here. So maybe.
And it looks like Smolder's rotating down. They have to be careful about the dive here. They know Smolder's here now. Getting a couple of chip shots in. Rel remounting, walking back. You have Lilia there. Duke spacing out the Rel Q. They have to try and just clear this wave. You have an empowered back from Alistar, so they're not going to be there in time, but that's just enough pressure to clear for this bot side dragon.
Yep. So it's not too terrible in terms of jungle objectives right now. It's one grub to two, and one dragon each. So despite the fact that they're getting killed early on here, Ohio State is trying to go for the dragon steal.
Although Ohio State University does take it, the Jin ult is popping. Here comes the Nico and 3 hit. The snipe from Jin gets one. Noctur picks up the second. They're looking for the third. There's a solo kill on the top side for Akali. There's a fourth kill, and we're looking at a team ace almost here. There's the shot. Do they have enough damage? Yes, they do. A double kill to Nico, and that's a team ace 11 minutes into this game.
Oh man, just as I was saying, things are pretty okay, even though they're down on kills. Oh, that is so rough. Amazing from UC Pink just to balloon their lead once again. You've got the Hextech Rocket Bout now completed on the Nico. You've got the Storm Surge on the Akali. Everybody's got completed items for the side of UC Pink. Jin will be very soon, I promise. But if you look on the other side, the only person that's got an item at all is Lilia. So yeah, these next couple of fights are going to be painful.
We're hitting that point now to where, okay, you didn't get super far ahead in the early game. Early game is now finished, right? Everybody's hitting their first item on the side of UC Pink. You now have to scale, right? That is your last shot, is you need to scale with this Smolder. Rel immediately going to burst up, trying to just clear off for 5150. But now, you're just in a weird spot. There's the Akali, immediately jumps in, gonna look for that. The Storm Surge proccing the Ignite, is going to get the kill on the Lilia before the sleep can pop off. And now Inferno's just gonna walk away clean. Can still sit and hit on this wave. He's just so far ahead, 4-0 at this point, that it's really hard to fight him, but he's taking a lot of chip. I don't think you take that E. It'd be funny if you took that E, but don't take that E. Duke looking for just a final shot on this turret. You just need to hit it once, especially with your Void Grubs. I think you could probably just tank with Alistar and walk under, but they're scared about the CC. They will just finish it off on this next wave coming up here, but Akali gonna be forced to back. You do have the TP, so no need to force anything or give the shutdown away. You are playing with 3 shutdowns on the side of UC.
Oh, he's ulting.
Oh,
he's ulting. He thinks he's got something here.
Lights are out as well mid. Here's the dash in the flash, but a good flash from Smolder as well. Although the here hits, the ult doesn't. That is 2 ults down for the side of a flash from Smolder, excuse me. So I guess that's worth, but they are just going to take this blue side turret. And now there's another quick engage, lethal tempo procced on Kai'Sa, just kind of shredding back on this Alistar.
And Akali is going to get out scot-free, TPing back in on a minion, I do believe. And yeah, Gragas is now forced on away, and Akali is going to not go for the freeze. I think she's just going to try and get some cryo because the good old Rift Herald's coming up here.
Oh, but Akali backed away for a second to realize, hey, wait a second, I'm 4-0. I'm just going to walk straight at Lilia here. Lilia just being forced to back, and now objective timer coming up. Rift Herald spawning, you have Prio in top, you have your resets in mid, you have your resets in jungle. I don't see a world where Ohio State without some miracle engage can really fight this.
Yeah, 13-2 is not a stat line where I'm thinking about fighting the enemy team at all for anything, pretty much. 7k gold down, it's a little bit of a... It would take a little bit of a miracle or a massive throw from UC Pink in order for them to win this upcoming fight. So I think that they're just going to try and scale up. As we've said, their main goal at this point is just to scale. Smolder especially, who's still trying to complete his first item.
Yep, remember, you do have a lot of this gold lead, at least in the top lane and in the mid lane. Although, really nice trade from Smolder there. You have to be careful because as these lanes kind of swap around, as they rotate, you do have options to make plays in the mid lane, right? You have a bit of a gold lead, obviously, taking a look at the lanes right now. There was about a 2k gold lead in just the bot lane alone, right? So hitting this tower is definitely going to be huge. Jhin backstepping and stepping into that Rift Herald, going to take that final charge, get that gold for them, get that local gold on that team. You have Rel sitting in the corner, but I don't think there's an engage option anymore without the mid tower as this dragon's coming to spawn.
Yep, and that should be pretty much free and clear for UC Pink to get whatever prio they need and get good control over it now. So it looks like we've got a little bit of a lane swap going on here between Akali and Nico here as well, trying to have Akali now go after Smolder because at this point Nico is starting to have a little bit of a hard time just stopping him from farming, whereas Akali can just go and one-shot him. I think this is a good decision here from them.
Yeah, it's good to match that, but also we have Dragon coming up, and Nico is the one with TP. So you want to always just put your TP laner to the farthest side, making sure that they can get into that fight. And knowing that it's Nico, you have a lot of flank wards set up, especially around that side for blue. You have a couple of pings going down, right? They know where they want to go. So if they do try to contest this, it is a bit rough for Ohio State.
Yes, that is also true. And they're going to be clearing out literally any vision that they had, and oh man, this is rough. Nice little catch onto the Rel. Just trying to follow up, but Rel's just a little bit too fast. So they'll just go ahead and take that easy and free dragon, and just keep on snowballing. Nico may be looking for something onto Gragas here, but looks like things are starting to mellow out just a little bit.
The rocket belt forward, just to proc a little bit of damage, it looks like, but mainly using that W move speed, trying to just clear this wave. You know that you have Lilia hovering topside, but now that Nocturne, Jhin, and Alistar have taken into that red side jungle on red, you have a lot more prio to kind of just walk up and trade with them. I think it is a bit worse for Nico, but it is better, obviously, for Akali, being able to lane against that Smolder, make sure that he can't free hit without being super pushed back under tower. So that bot side is just really heavily pushed.
Right, exactly. And so I think that what Ohio State is, what UC Pink is trying to do here is just, as soon as Nocturne clears this, I think he's going to start looking for something, looking for a little bit of a play into their jungle so that they can get some vision, because what they want to keep doing at this point is just keep on ballooning their lead, keep on stopping Smolder from stacking, keep on stopping Kaiser from farming, and if they can just do that, find a free kill onto one of them, or even like a decent trade going into this next objective, then yeah, it's pretty much over. But there's not, I wouldn't expect there to be any like pivotal fights at this point, at least until Baron's up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. It's more so about UC Pink just making sure they don't throw this lead, right? As you send Inferno top lane, immediately going to jump in, will find the edge of the Nico ult, and then the ult over the wall from Inferno will just be enough to get that Storm Surge proc and that kill. Gragas falling again. They were just rotating up so that they can take this topside tower right before Baron, right? Clear a little bit off, get more vision control, and just make sure that this objective is a no-doubter.
I mean, yeah, I don't really have too many doubts that UC Pink is going to be beating this one. 10k gold lead now, firm control over everything, catching out Rel. Literally, as soon as anybody steps up, even past like the halfway point of the map, is pretty much GG for that player. TPing in a little bit late, but yeah, everyone's TPing in now. This is go time. They're going to try and catch the Lily out here, force a flash over the top. Nico trying to catch her with the root, does do so. Smolder out coming back on in, calling it on his mom, and it looks like they will be able to survive with just a death onto Rel.
Yeah, I mean, considering all the ults that were thrown there, pretty okay for Ohio State University, right? Just getting caught out, but I really think that it's a bit hard to win this game now, a little more than it was before, because with that pick, you kind of just secure a lot more of this fighting potential. What you have to be careful though is you don't have Jhin ult, you don't have Alistar ult, you don't have Nocturne ult, right? You have your 2 AP carries still with a lot of damage, but a lot of those like team fight winning ults are not there. So if you can keep eyes on Nico and you can keep eyes on Akali, I think you can play these fights at least a little bit slower, you know, outside of the item spikes. But never mind. Smolder drops immediately to Inferno. Yep. And Alistar just walks to make sure they turn. At Rel, looks like they jump in. They're just trying to find anything here. The Alistar ult not available, and they're just going to pick up this kill here. Inferno also getting tied out a little bit here, having to dodge back with the E. Rel jumping back in, gets the Drowsy, holds on the sleep, and the shutdown goes to Lilia. Way too much of an overstep there from Inferno, just not getting out in time. And that's going to be 2 kills and a Baron started up by this Ohio State University. What were we saying? You just can't throw the game. You don't have the ultimates you need. You can't throw the game. But it looks like they are making it a little bit interesting here, as it will start up. You do have the lights back. You do have Jin ult coming back in 2 seconds here. Yeah, they have to fall off.
Yeah, it was a good moment though for Ohio State. They were able to get the shutdown on Akali, and they were able to kill Alistar here, which enables Smolder to get even closer to where he needs to be at this stage of the game in terms of stacks and in terms of gold. I think the gold he's getting pretty close to. The stacks, he only needs like 70 more stacks, which is not great based on how far ahead their opponents are, but it's also not terrible either. He does have to be a little bit careful here with the Alistar and the Nico, but yeah, he's doing just that, and his teammates are now coming down to help him with the dragon.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Smolder getting a little bit close, right? Obviously hitting that level 13 spike, still getting that shred out, but hasn't really found a time to even DPS in any of these fights because Akali has just been just taking his name, right? And there's the root out immediately, and like I was saying, it's just comboed off. Brohead picks up the kill, immediately gonna turn the lights off and dive to the back line. They're gonna finish off the kill on Rel in the back there. Jin opens up, Alistar goes in, the shot is gonna be enough. The Zanya's in the sleep, maybe too much. They are gonna trade 1 kill there. Inferno does die, but the Lilia isn't gonna survive for much longer. Jin takes that kill. They're going to take this mid tier 2 and take up this 3rd dragon.
Man, just UC's team fighting here, dude. Like, as soon as Ohio State tries to do literally anything, it's just all hands on deck from UC Pink. These guys are just all such on the same page about everything. It's not like a situation where you got one hand moving independently of the other or anything like that. They're all like of one body and like moving as like, you know, one big machine, and it's really beautiful to see.
Definitely, no, they are just working together. Their rotations have been super clean, like you were talking about. Just being super coordinated on these fights as well. Best thing I think that I've been surprised by UC Pink is their ability to pull the trigger. A lot of the times when you see these kind of engage comms, especially come out of competitive play, the biggest issue that people have is, well, I don't want to take that angle because maybe it could be better here. Maybe, maybe more people are around the corner, right? And they kind of freak out with that. But UC Pink, this whole game has been not afraid to, hey, I'm going to Nico ult this one person. We're Nico ulting 1 or 2 people. We're going to ult what we see, right? You ult what we see, we engage what we see, and we find what we see. And it's worked out super, super well, leading to the score being 20-5.
And I think that Nico's also done a really good job of disguising herself as Akali. Like, Smolder will think he can just go up and like hit Akali for free for just a little bit, like, oh, she's not gonna ult me just yet. And oh, just as we're talking about that, bro getting a little bit caught out and completely obliterated.
Nothing new. It's a bit rough for supports, especially at this late in the game when you're down, because you need vision control, right? So you got to just kind of sacrifice your body at some point for vision control. But you know who doesn't have to sacrifice it? Kaisa, as there's the lights turned out, immediately jumping to the back. Inferno finds one, Rohan finds the other, and Gragas is left in the middle, just trying to run down, sidestepping the Jin ult, but you can't sidestep Alistar and Nico. Immediately going down, Rohan picking up the ace on the back line. They're just gonna push this mid. And they're going to try and look either for a Baron or just look for the end based on what they're trying to call.
Yeah, you can't sidestep fate. It's just a known fact. It seems like inevitable that they're just going to go on and win this game 25-5. We were worried after the draft, and our fears have been shown to be absolutely accurate as UC Pink now destroys that turret, and it looks like they're going to go for a reset for the Baron. I appreciate that even though they are so monumentally ahead, so incredibly destroying their opponents that they do not want to throw, and they are still playing this game as seriously as if it's even.
Yep. Yeah. They are playing it really, really carefully, and at some point, you just gotta end the game, right? Because you are scaling on the side of Smolder. I think playing carefully does help, but they have to be careful. You see, Pink is like one bad fight away from throwing like 5k of their gold lead with the shutdowns that they have, right? Smolder
That is true.
now getting to that point with the executes. You just play one of these sides, and it can be a bit rough. So I think if you're UC Pink, you're feeling good, right? You're feeling confident. You're feeling unlosable, but you're also in the back of your mind, you're thinking, it's time to end the game now. Like, it's time to finish this out now.
Yeah, that is true. Smolder does have that execute, like you mentioned, and Akali did just try to chase down the Gragas with her ult and doesn't have it now.
Oh, close, close, close. On vision, though, Rel obviously being able to just peek into that bush, make sure that nothing's going on.
Yep, nothing new under the sun except for just complete vision control, getting pretty much everything in terms of control over the Baron, and probably about to do it now. Ohio State is not in a good position to contest them for this at all. Can TP here, Gragas, but we'll see. In my opinion, this has got to be a do or die situation for them. Either win now or lose now.
Yeah, they just started the Baron. He will take half his health just to Baron only, but they're trying to just drag it out. It's a bit rough. Kind of just started it a little bit too early, not knowing where OSU was. So gonna have to just back up. Not gonna be able to make a call on Baron, but now OSU in a position where they have 3, 4, 5 mid. Just looking to try and push something.
Yeah, it's tough from an XP and CSing perspective, but at this point, I don't entirely blame them for it, because if anyone straggles off, Akali will one-shot them. Nocturne will one-shot them, Nico will one-shot them. So it sucks, but it's at the same time a little bit necessary.
Definitely. No, we're seeing the TP there. Nico coming in. They're just trying to set up immediately for this dragon popping up. This is Soul Point. It's going to be Cloud Soul, which is insane for Nocturne and Nico and Akali, right? Who are all dive characters. Getting any kind of movement speed just makes sure that you can't run away from them, especially with the lead. So this Cloud Soul is pretty much sealing the deal for this lead that UC Pink has. I think they are ready now with their backs. They are going to take any fight they can, as here come the lights and jumping onto the Lilia immediately. Get the bleed, jumping in. Yeah, only having to blow the Nocturne ult. They're going to take the Baron immediately. Again, you don't really have any backs to take, so I would be surprised if they don't just fight this immediately, as Inferno over the wall has to be careful. They are going to dive him immediately, hops in the shroud. She's going to be jumping around, but the Eve blind finds her, jumping in, going to dash back, but the execute, that's a huge shutdown for Smolder. You are fighting at disadvantage here. It is a 4v4. Alistar goes down, a 3-man ult from Nico as well, jumping to the back, but there's just not enough taking this. Kaisa jumps in and gets the flash and the shutdown too, and they just threw the fight. They don't have any more ults to throw down at this. Inferno's dead. They don't have the lights. Nico got dragged in by Kaisa, and now you gave away 3 shutdowns. Or excuse me, you gave away 2 shutdowns because Akali didn't have a shutdown. But that's a bit rough. You really can't. You really can't do that, right?
No,
yeah.
I mean, like,
again,
even with
it's.
Go ahead.
You just waited too long. Now. Ohio State getting a little bit of hope here. Although, you know, obviously they still have Baron buff. They are feeling a little bit better, at least putting a couple of kills and a couple of gold in their pocket.
Yeah, I mean, things are better for them before that after the Baron play than before for Ohio State, but they still have a long ways to go. They do still have a lot of shutdowns to get as well. A lot of standing gold for them. If they can kill this Nocturne, if they can kill this Jhin, and they're still looking pretty good. And I mean, the Smolder's damage is starting to get pretty freaking disgusting. Same thing with the Kaisa. You saw how fast she was able to blow up that Nico. So the damage is starting to slowly creep in for Ohio State. UC Pink just needs to take a really strong fight for this inhibitor and top side here, I think, is what they need to do, just to end things sooner rather than later.
Yep, yeah, you just have to group at this point. A lot of your ults it's going to be hard to try and find any of this Ohio State University isolated now. There's the Smolder ult as well, doing a lot of damage. Alistar just going to be able to walk out, still holding on to his ult, so he still has a lot of engage potential, at least with the tankiness side of it. And now, using this Cloud Soul, they're going to push this top. They're going to use Baron to push this mid as well. They're looking for something. There's the ult on Alistar from Gragas. Gragas ult down, but not going to be able to follow up on it as this Baron buff is now pushing back mid. You have to be careful about Nico coming from one of these sides, but I think they're going to try and rotate this down to bot side and catch that wave. Yeah, they're pinging it down, yeah. They're trying to just rotate this around, spread their Baron play as much as they can. Kaisa W going in, not going to be able to hit. But what it looks like, if I remember correctly, going to Guinsoo's build, you do have enough AP now for W Evolve. So
Yes,
any
that's
Kaisa
right.
hit that she has, she's going to be able to just keep Wing those over and over and over again. So you have to be careful about the poke on this side.
Uh-oh, Nico
Oh,
coming
the
on
trigger on the
in,
corner.
looking
Yeah,
for the
there's the
ult.
first engage. Inferno finds one. The lights turn out. Nico looks for the ult. Only going to be able to find one on the tank. Rohan still just putting in work on the backline. Not going to be able to find it. Kaisa finds one. Immediately just walking back. Kaisa dead. Lilia in the backline. The sleep goes off, but it's not going to be enough. Duke finishes off that kill. Alistar takes it from Rohan on the rel. And all that's left is Gragas alone in this mid lane. Dashing away. There's the flash from Rohan. The W from Jin. The ult popping out. Finishes off with the ace, and that is going to be the end of this game. That is a clean 2-0 from UC Pink with commanding victories in both games.
End of map and end of the series. UC Pink, we were theorizing this was what was going to happen from the very inception of the draft. Counter picks in every single lane, and Rohan on a carry, and that's what you get. So, yeah, they are going to be moving on, UC Pink, to the winners finals and awaiting whoever is going to be facing them from the losers bracket. Just getting a little bit of an update onto that. Still going on, things going on between Gravity and Ohio Northern University, but after that, Ohio State is going to be waiting for the winner of that.
Yep, I'm excited for both of these games, right? Obviously, we've had a lot of competition. These teams are just going blow for blow. These fights have been just extreme pop-off fights. Personally, from the caster's booth, it's been really fun to watch. We've seen a lot of wombo combos, a lot of people just kind of hitting huge ultimates. So hopefully we can keep that streak going and keep that energy going as we move into our losers final and our grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, just closing remarks from UC Pink, they just straight up out, in my opinion, they outdrafted their opponents, and from what we've been seeing so far, they play very, very, very well around their jungler. Whenever he seems to be the main shot caller of the team as well, and whenever he asks for their help, everyone's just like, "All right, my wave, I'm dropping it. My fight that I'm taking, I'm dropping it. This turret plate, I'm dropping it. I'm going to help Rohan because he's going to lead us to victory. He's our golden ticket to the grand finals, as which is exactly where they're at right now. And I just love seeing teams that have enough confidence in one of their players to just say, you know what, anything you need, we got your back. And so, yeah, I would love to talk to him if we can get to that point where we have an interview with him.
Yeah, no, definitely. You can see as well, just kind of like the trust between those teammates. Best part is that early one, recognizing your win con and recognizing, hey, this is the person we need to get ahead first. Let's just give the kill to Nocturne, give the first blood to Nocturne. Everybody kind of leaves away from that rel, especially with that tempo and that pathing. Make sure that it's worth for him to kind of leave off that 3 camp. The worst feeling as a jungler, especially, is 3 camping and early ganking to not find anything
Right.
because you lose a lot of tempo, especially into Lilia, who has a really fast clear. It's really important that you get something. So the team recognizing that, being able to give that kill, give that first blood gold, and that snowballing into the game that we just saw was beautiful.
Yeah, I know. And so, yeah, and I also like the fact that for the other side, their carry, whenever 515 was trying to do anything in the bot lane, he was just being neutralized constantly.
Yep.
Jin, or whoever was playing Jin for the side of UC Pink, their ADC, he was just constantly being like, all right, well, I'm just gonna kind of chill here. I'm just gonna kind of farm. I'm gonna play around my jungler. I'm not gonna try and take any crazy fights with this guy because he's really good, and I don't want to be the reason why they're able to match Rohan later in the game. So I really respect the discipline, even though like Jin is like a character who you would want to just be like super aggressive with in the lane, especially with someone like an Alistar. He showed the restraint and he had faith like I don't need to carry this game. My friends got me.
Yeah, definitely. As like a bot laner, especially, the best thing about Chin is that he offers a lot of utility, a lot of range, and a lot of damage, even when you aren't the furthest ahead, right? Obviously, everybody loves the Jhin like one shot, right? Like getting a
Mhm.
bunch of AD, getting a bunch of scaling, being able to take that shot. But in a competitive setting, Jhin offers a lot of utility because not only do you have the slows off your traps and the setups, but your W is such a far range that when you find these kind of snapping gauges that we were talking about in the game with that Nico, with that Akali, with that Nocturne, you're able to follow up on it even if you're not exactly in the fight. And I think that's one of the best things that Jin does. And he gets a lot of use out of the AD items, even though AD items got pretty hit last patch.
Mhm.
He still is very strong. So I think he is perfectly acceptable to Prio, and we saw it right there, just how effective it is.
Yeah, and if we do get to talk to Rohan here in a little bit, I'm curious to see how deep his champ pool actually goes because, like, literally, they were just straight up target banning him for like the entire first map. They banned his Kane, they banned his Viego, and in the last one, they banned a whole bunch of other of his stuff too. So I'm curious, like, how deep does this go? Does he have like four good champions? Does he have like five, 10? I'm really curious. Like, is it even worth trying to target ban this guy?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, another pop off part of that too, right? Is you ban all that, but you still got counters in the support. You got the counters in the mid and the top, right? But support also specifically, the Alistar was just flying around, right? Like you find a Rel engage and Alistar is right there to match it, right? Alistar is sitting in the bush. It feels like if you ever seen one of those joke videos where it's like a Malphite jump scare where he just ults out of the bush and then flashes back. That's kind of what it felt like for Alistar flying around this map. Was he was appearing in spots that Rel was not ready for, and right as Alistar pops up and just finishes off that engage, it led to a pick for their team, and it just allowed them to keep that tempo going.
Yep, and I do believe we have a little bit of an interview coming in here from Kabul.
It's Kobel sober. I mean, it's a bunch of nonsense letters, so it's fine. Thank you. Pretty good. That was I mean, it was a fun game. I felt pretty confident going into it, so it's good to win. I mean, the first game, I felt like we had it in draft. I felt like we got a lot of the stuff we wanted. And I just from the very beginning, I don't know, it felt pretty good. We got ahead early. Both games, we had good matchups. We were able to work together really well. As soon as we started getting going, we didn't really let up. There was they had some really good plays the first game with throwing like 5 ults onto my ADC under tier 2 tower and almost turned it around. But I think we were all pretty confident the whole time that we were able to win. I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, we played together a lot, so we are pretty good at working together and knowing what we want to do next and kind of think about the game pretty similarly. Um, I mean, we're really good about like you said, moving together. Hamlet, our mid laner, he's always like calling out to like what we're looking for ahead of time. So we know, like, okay, we need to get vision here. We need to walk up this way. So it's pretty clear where we want to walk together. I mean, there's a couple times, you know, I'll walk up into a bush and and get myself killed sometimes, but for the most part, it's pretty clear what we want to do, and we're able to talk about it and move around together really well. It just works together, and when we play with confidence, we can kind of push people off of vision and make sure we're able to hold on to it. Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, we know Duke is going to be able to just farm up and do well. So I leave him a lot. uh, so I work with Rohan and Hamlet, and we'll just walk around in the jungle and make sure, like, as soon as someone's calling it, it's pretty clear comms usually, so we're able to. And if we knew that it wasn't a good play, we would be like, no, I can't walk up, I can't roam. So like every time he's going in, it's because we're able to walk with him. Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I probably am saying to go in more often, but for sure, we I think it's pretty good. I think we pretty good at following up. We definitely like to try to force stuff and fight when we can. But I mean, I don't think it's just Rohan. I don't think it's any single person of trying to go in and us having to call him back. I think we're all working pretty well with it together. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Cobble Sober, as you just saw, support for the winning team of UC Pink. He had a lot of really good insights, confirmed some things that we already knew, and gave us a little bit more insights onto the ins and outs of UC Pink. And we'll be seeing a little bit more of him in the grand finals. But ladies and gentlemen, we still got a couple more matches coming on up here, as you'll see here in the bracket very, very soon, I think. Yes. And so yeah, we still got a little bit to go before the grand finals. Ohio State University waiting for the winner between Gravity and Ohio Northern, and I believe that that match is currently in a close game two right now. So we'll wait on the winner of that, and I believe we'll be picking this back up in the losers finals. But don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We've got more awesome games coming up soon.